If we go back like a couple hundred years, it was pretty normal to own slaves. Is that right or correct?
Why are we talking about slavery?
Because I'm showing you why the ad populum fallacy is a logical fallacy.
Honestly, back then, a lot of Black people participated in the slave trade themselves. So
Yeah, that doesn't make slavery right. Are you trying to defend
it was a
slavery?
product of the time, dude. It
Are
was
you
a
trying to
product of the
defend
time.
slavery?
Did you not see Matt Walsh's new video on this topic?
I did, and I think that defending slavery is cringe as
Defending slavery, but I think we're illogical if we didn't realize that a lot of Black people enjoyed being slaves back when slavery was a thing.
well, how do you know that black people enjoyed being slaves?
I mean, it's just in history. I've like read about it. Like a lot of Black people not only participated in capturing slaves, but a lot of Black people enjoyed being slaves. Because of course, when you're
Really?
brought up doing something like being a slave your whole life, it's all you know. I'm sure a lot of slaves probably enjoyed it and were happy because that's the only lifestyle they were aware of.
That's
Can you not
crazy.
can you not think like that? Like, is it really that dense
I have
of you?
never
Like, I
heard
don't
of
know.
somebody enjoying having to work countless hours on a plantation, being dehumanized and whipped and told that they're not human, and being beaten within an inch of their life, and being.
Saying
I
that's
don't think that
okay.
people
I'm just
enjoyed
saying you
that.
can't deny the fact that there were probably slave owners that, just like there were really bad ones, there were probably slave owners that probably treated their slaves really nice too, right? Like, you're not thinking logically. You're being so dense.
So I'm just gonna say that in general, I think it's wrong to own humans,
Of course, we're not in that time period anymore.
but you're defending slavery.
I'm not defending it. I'm saying it was a product of the time.
You said that black people enjoyed being slaves.
I think there were probably a good majority of Black people who back then were born and raised as slaves, probably because that's the only thing they knew. It was the environment they grew up in. If they had a slave owner who treated them well, they probably enjoyed their lives, a few of them. I think it's illogical to believe that every person who was a slave back then hated their life. I truly think that's illogical. I do.
I'm pretty sure that being owned is not a good thing.
Because you grew up in this generation and this is what you've been taught. And we know these things now. But
No,
back
not just
then,
because I
those
was.
societal standards were not created yet.
Not just because I grew up in this generation, but because I can think logically and morally on this topic, and why it is unfair to own another human based off of their birth as having like a certain skin color, for example. That's unfair
Pretending
and
like I'm saying it's
illogical.
okay to own slaves now, because that's not what I'm insinuating.
You are defending slavery.
I'm not defending it. I'm just giving you the facts. Aren't you all about facts over feelings?
Yeah, and I believe that slavery is immoral.
Right. And I do too. But the fact was, back then, I think you're illogical if you think that some of them didn't enjoy being slaves or enjoy their lives.
Why would anyone enjoy being a slave?
That's the environment you grew up in. That's all you've ever known. So if you grew up in that environment and you have a slave owner who treats you well, that's just all they know. So they probably were happy about it. They didn't know freedom. Why is it so hard for you to understand this?
What does like a slave owner treating their slave well look like?
I mean, back then, I'm sure some of them, I'm pretty sure they fed them, right? Or probably that like they weren't whipping anybody or like not tormenting anyone. Just like, I don't have like specific details for
Oh,
you.
okay.
Dude.
As long as you're working inhumane hours on plantations, but you're being fed, then that's a good thing.
Again, I'm not
or you're
saying
enjoying
slavery
that.
was a good thing. You're not going to like try to make it seem like that's what I'm saying, because I don't know what you want me to say. If you want to believe that every person back then who was a slave hated their life, go for it.